Hi, my name is Reverend Craig Peterson, and I'm the Associate Conference Minister for Congregational Development in the Central Atlantic Conference of the United Church of Christ. And this week, I've gathered with delegates from across the country, but more specifically from across the Central Atlantic Conference to attend the 34th General Synod. And tonight, to kick things off, we're blessed to have one of our delegates with us. So I'm going to ask if she would begin by introducing herself, and she'll give you her name, her local church affiliation, the association to which the church belongs, and then she'll share with you what number of General Synods she's been to. And so with that, Lacey, take it away.
All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Lacey Nalla. My local church is Immanuel United Church of Christ in Catonsville, Maryland. The association is the Chesapeake Association, and this is my first synod.
That is indeed exciting. So I have just a couple questions to get things kicked off this weekend. And the first question I want to begin is by sort of noticing that some folks out there don't understand how meetings like General Synod can really affect the life and the ministry of our local churches and associations. So I'd like to start tonight by asking you to talk about how your experiences at General Synod have given you things that you could take home with you that could benefit or strengthen the life of your local church or your association.
Yes, sure. So there's been many websites that they've shared with different resources that are free. Different books that they've mentioned from different speakers. Excited to share those book references with my church. There was mention of podcasts that I also wrote down to also share with my church, and a lot of notes. So I will show off my pile that I have here. But I'm the type of person that the best way that I learn is to write. And so I just wrote down everything that I heard, and I'll process it later and, share it with the church. Specifically, I can talk about a few specifics if you want as to, where I heard things that I'm like, oh, our church could definitely benefit from those.
I love that. Excellent. If I'll maybe do the same as well. The thing that really stayed with me came from my community of practice. We had a gathering of clergy folks who were associate conference ministers, and we were talking about how to deal with some of the challenging topics like some of the isms that are faced in our local churches. And one of the colleagues shared a wonderful way of thinking about how to approach them. She suggested that instead of thinking about trying to create safe space, which can actually sometimes backfire and keep people from talking or sharing fully, she said, maybe our goal should be to create brave space. And so that shift in thinking is something that I think I can bring back both to my work at the conference and the association, and even my local church at Christ Central in Princeton, New Jersey. So let me ask another question of you. This has been kind of a difficult week for many of us, and those of us who are so passionate about social justice. Some Supreme Court decisions have come down that have really challenged some of our values and our ways of being. So rather than giving into a sense of despair, I would ask, what have you seen at General Synod that are giving you seeds of hope that can suggest and encourage that there is, in fact, a way forward?
Yeah, definitely. I really think there's something to be said of community. And when you have so many people together who are all fighting for the same causes and have the same passion and, just this desire to do something, and you just realize you're not alone. I think it's hard sometimes when we're sort of in our own little bubble and we see the media and we think that there's nothing we can do, or, no one, like we're the only person who thinks this way. So just being at Synod and being energized around feeling energized from being around people who also share your same values, your same passion, drive, and just sharing the knowledge about how to make a difference, and what has worked for some churches and what hasn't worked, and learning from each other. Just all of that has really given me a lot of hope, where sometimes I, feel maybe defeated otherwise. So yeah, really given me a lot of hope.
Yes. And one thing that's been so powerful for me, both in the plenary sessions when we're all gathered together, as well as in breakout groups, is to see really the richness of the diversities in our communities reflected. It's no longer, we're really seeing the rhetoric meet the reality at every level of the church. And so I just walk away so hopeful that we can be a model for the world, not just in our words, but our deeds as well. And General Synod is really bringing that home for me.
Absolutely.
All right. So the third question I have, and then we'll just kind of close with general reflections, is the United Church of Christ is a community of firsts. For those who visit the website, there's any number of firsts that you can find. The first woman ordained by a mainline tradition, the first African American, the first openly gay man, the list goes on and on. And this General Synod, we're on the cusp of making another first, which would be the first woman, and the first woman of African descent, to be elected president and general minister of the denomination after 66 years. So, Lacey, I'm just wondering, as a delegate who heard the candidate's speech last night as she cast vision, and who made herself available today to talk with delegates as well, if you begin by talking about what that experience was like, just to be there in person, and then maybe talk about anything that she may have said in casting a vision that really stayed with you.
Yeah, definitely. The experience was amazing. Just being there, again, just being around the energy, the people who introduced her, you could see how passionate they were just about the person that she is, the work that she's done. They talked about a lot of her past work and a lot of the past councils she's been on. Just really, really, really impressive. So that was really neat. And then something that was very specific that she addressed that honestly I've never considered, and I don't recall hearing it before, is she mentioned this inclusiveness of diversity when it comes to worship, and embracing people that have different styles of worship and how they know God and how they express their love of God. And I've never considered that before. In the past, I just always had this idea of, if you go into a church, you have to adjust and adapt to how they worship and do what they do. And it's this idea of, no, we need to learn from the people coming in on how do they express their love of God and how do they express how they worship God. And let's be inclusive of that. And that was really neat.
That's powerful and beautiful. There were so many things that she said, but one of the things that really bowled me over wasn't necessarily the content, but it was the way that she spoke and the things that she included. I was so personally moved when she began, not just by recognizing her family members, but the thing that just touched me to the core of my soul is she mentioned the two women who had been put forward as candidates before her, who never quite got across that line in order to serve. And for her to express such profound humility in that moment, and to make it clear that not only does she stand on the shoulders of those who've gone before her, but then she extended that and reminded the church that so too do we. And I just think that it's a powerful witness to the church at the highest level to say it's not about me, and in her case about being the first, but rather what someone from a different location with different perspectives can bring in. And that's just a different way of being a president and general minister that I just valued to the core.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%.
Yeah. So, those were the questions I had asked Lacey to think about in advance. But as we close this evening in our first check-in, is there anything off the top of your head, or just an experience, or just something that the folks at home may not see on the General Synod website that you think would be good to think about or to talk about?
Yeah, today's information that I heard is fresh in my mind. But just over the course of the days, it's been a lot of information that's been great. But one thing that's still fresh in my mind that really struck me again was a presentation by Brian Stevenson, and he did the book Just Mercy, and he had mentioned proximity and how important proximity is when we talk about helping people, especially people who have been oppressed, and how we need to be where they are and we need to meet with them and talk with them. And it's not this idea of, our ideas for how we think we can help people facing oppression, but talking with them and getting to know them and having that relationship and learning from them what do they need, and helping them with that and walking with them. So that was, it seems like such a basic concept, but at the same time, it's so important, like that proximity of, to help our communities, we need to be out there and meeting our community members and having that proximity with them.
Well, thank you so much, Lacey, for our first check-in to get the folks back at home in the Central Atlantic Conference better connected to us. And
Yes.
we'll be with you again tomorrow evening, as well as Monday evening, just to help keep us as strongly connected to General Synod as possible. And so with that, we'll sign off. And thanks for spending time.
Thanks for asking me. I appreciate it.
Let's see.